It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, my friends, it's that time again. Yes, it's that time again. The time is to start looking at who are you going to vote for in the primary election. Please vote. Despite what's been going on in the country in the last couple of years, vote. It's very important. Particularly the two guests I have on today. We have Christina Hale, Judge Christina Hale, and we have attorney Christopher Hobbs. Both of them are running for a judge in the Schuylkill County, the Court of Common Pleas. Very important position, critical if it involves you. And today we're going to find out a little more about both of these fine people. And Christina, thanks for coming on the Sam Lesante Show. And Chris, nice to have you. Nice to reminisce about your dad and about your father-in-law.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for having us today.
Yeah, two great people. Christina, you were sworn in October 12th, 2020. You were a district magistrate for 8 years. And what happened that you were nominated? What was the reason for that?
Well, Sam, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it, and it's an honor to be here with Chris. I was a district magistrate for 8 years, since 2012 up until October of this year. We had a retirement in Schuylkill County. Judge John Domalakis had been a longtime judge in our county, and he was a phenomenal jurist, great, excellent judge. We actually have all excellent judges on our bench right now, our current bench. They're all fabulous, but John retired, Judge Domalakis retired, and I decided I wanted to try to get appointed if I possibly could. So I spoke with the party and with Senator Argel, and I went through the process. I went to the Bar Association. I submitted my letter of interest pursuant to the Schuylkill County Bar Association bylaws, and I received the highest vote in the Bar Association secret balloting. So Senator Argel then submitted my name to the governor and nominated me. I had to go through a Senate confirmation hearing in Harrisburg, and then I was appointed by the governor. So it was pretty exciting.
Let's talk about that confirmation hearing.
Sure.
What were some of the questions that the senators had asked you?
Well, they asked me a lot about my experience as a judge, about the types of cases that I handled, not only as a judge, but as an attorney as well, because I'm also an attorney. I had been practicing law from 2001 until about 2012, right around the time I got elected magisterial district judge in Frackville. So they asked questions about that. They asked about my judicial philosophy.
And what is
my judicial philosophy? I think judges should be fair, impartial. It's important to have experience. You, as a judge, should rule in accordance with the law and with the Constitution.
And there were other questions that were, similar.
They asked about my family and my background, but mostly they focused on my experience. They wanted to determine if I was fit to be a judge. No criminal record or anything like that.
Sure.
So it was mostly biographical and educational.
Yeah. I find it interesting because during these confirmation hearings, there's a lot of questions that are asked that the public would like to know. Okay.
Sure.
So it's an opportunity for you to know how you went through that process. Okay?
Right.
When you let's talk about your background. Okay, your family. Now, like I mentioned before the show to you and Chris, that people who know you know who you are. Okay. But for people who are seeing you for the first time, heard of you on the bench. Tell me about your background, your family, and a little bit about yourself.
Certainly. Well, my name's Christina Hale, and I'm just an average, normal person. I'm from Schuylkill County, born and raised. I love the coal region. When my friends were leaving after college, and Schuylkill County's known for, unfortunately, for outward migration, a lot of young people leave after they're educated and they have to go elsewhere to find jobs. I came back. My family's there. It's the place that I choose to live. I choose to raise my family. I have a little girl, Abby. She's 10. She would have loved this. And my husband Howard and I have been married for almost 19 years. So we raise our daughter there. I coach her soccer team, her youth recreational soccer team. I'm involved in the PTO at her school. I do a lot of community activities, a lot of community events. I go into the schools and I speak to the schools about different social issues facing kids. Vaping, that's a big one right now. And the kids don't realize how dangerous it is and how serious it is. So I talk to them about that, about cyberbullying. For the older kids, I talk to them a lot about distracted driving, things like that. Also, you know, just legal careers in general. I've been invited to many school districts for Law Day, for Career Day, just so kids kind of know about what opportunities are out there for them.
Why did you decide to become an attorney?
I'm not really sure, but my mom, my mother, she tells me that I used to argue with the babysitters when I was a little kid and I would win.
Yeah.
So,
Gee, you better be a lawyer.
yeah, I think my mother and my father really encouraged me to do that. I don't know, I guess they saw that potential in me. And it's a career that I loved. I mean, I practiced law for a good 10, 11, 12 years before becoming a district judge, because while I was in law school, I clerked for Michael J. O'Connor and Associates, and then he actually gave me my first job out of school. I've handled a variety of cases. I've handled everything from Social Security disability claims, workers' compensation, personal injury plaintiff work, wrongful death cases. Some of those cases are very difficult to handle. And I think that helped me become a judge because it gave me the ability to be compassionate. You have to be compassionate when you're dealing with people who have suffered loss or catastrophic injuries or just lost family members. I did a lot of municipal law. I was the solicitor for many boroughs and townships in Schuylkill County, for Frackville Borough, West Monoy Township, Tremont Borough. There was many others, Tamaqua Borough for a period of time, Porter Township for a period of time, Fraley Township, Delano Township. So I had a lot of experience with municipal law.
So a lot of these people know you.
I hope so.
Yeah. You know,
some of them remember me.
Yeah, yeah. You know, interesting, when I'm interviewing people, I always like to find out what their passion is and the substance of their life, okay? So sometimes when someone's running for office, then all of a sudden they become involved in a lot of things, okay? But it's before you decided to come into office is what you did, and you've explained many things that you did even before thinking of becoming a judge. Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely.
You were involved in the community?
I was always involved in the community. That's not something new that has just occurred because of this race. I mean, if I could think back and probably look through the newspaper articles, I had been involved even in high school. I was a swimmer, and I remember the American Cancer Swim-a-thon. We always did that, and we did fundraising for different charities and different organizations. And as an attorney, I was on the Mardi Gras committee, which raised money for the Frackville Public Library, which, by the way, my grandmother, Eleanor Miller Hale, actually started that back in, gosh, I don't even know when. It was during the Public Works project after the Depression. So I was always very active in community service.
Yeah, it just didn't happen overnight.
No, and it's something that I value. As a judge, I'm ethically prohibited from any type of fundraising for organizations now, so I can't do anything like that. I can attend events and support them, but I can't solicit or ask people, you know, support the American Cancer Society or this organization or that. However, what I can do, I can go out to the schools and talk with the kids, and that's something I am very passionate about. Maybe because I have a 10-year-old little girl and I coach a bunch of 10 and 11-year-old little girls on the soccer team and the basketball team, and I want them to be confident and to make good choices and make good decisions, and all kids actually. You know, I really enjoy going into the schools and speaking with the kids and trying to make a difference.
Are you having fun being a judge?
I love it. Yeah, I love it. It's a great job.
Yeah.
I'm humbled and honored to do this job.
And you're working with great judges.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They've been phenomenal. They made my transition. Every judge on the Schuylkill County Common Pleas bench has been welcoming, fantastic, helpful, and they really helped me with the transition.
Good. Chris Hobbs, I like this. A judge must be fair, impartial, free from any political influence, in accordance with the federal and state constitutions. With more than 20 years plus handling civil, criminal, and administrative cases, I believe that I have the experience, temperament, and expertise to serve the citizens of Schuylkill County. You can trust that I will protect our communities and constitutional rights in the courtroom. I like that because I said in the beginning, judgeship is a very important position because you can change a person's life just like that, okay? Chris, you know, your father, Hobbs, and Senator Rhodes, right? He was your father-in-law, right?
Correct.
Okay. So tell me about you.
Sure. Sam, professionally, I've been practicing law a little over 20 years now. I was born and raised in Schuylkill County in Pottsville. I currently am a partner in the law firm Lieberman, Tamulonis, and Hobbs. Right now, my practice is primarily business law and municipal law. I have a myriad of different types of clients, and over the last 20 years, I've pretty much handled every type of issue you can handle. I've tried jury trials. I've argued in front of all 3 appellant judges or courts in the state. And currently, I represent a number of municipalities: Pine Grove Borough, the Cass Township Zoning Hearing Board, the Newcastle Township Zoning Hearing Board. I represent the Schuylkill County IU-29. I represent the Schuylkill Technology Center. I represent Child Development, Inc. That's a quick snapshot of my current practice, which keeps me quite busy. I'm also an assistant county solicitor. I represent the Board of Commissioners. I've handled the Election Bureau. I handle all of Schuylkill County unemployment compensation cases that come for county employees. Personally, as you mentioned, I'm married to Dr. Allie Hobbs, who received her PhD from Penn State University. I have 2 kids, a 12-year-old boy, Christopher, a 13-year-old girl, Caroline, and a dog, right. Quincy.
Don't forget the dog.
I will not forget the dog. I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
I have a tremendous family. Yeah. They're just wonderful. I'm proud to raise them in Schuylkill County. Schuylkill County is a great community. It's given so much to me. And when we talk about the judgeship, as Christina mentioned, Judge Damalakis retiring opened up one spot, but Judge Dalbin, who is a tremendous jurist and has been there for a long time, decided not to seek retention. So that opened up a second spot. And I've known Judge Dalbin for a long, long time, and decided at this point in my career, what better way to serve the community that has given so much to me, and then to run for that position. So that's a little bit about why I'm doing it, and with the support of my family, friends, and the community, we're going to give it a run.
Well, you know, you mentioned a number of municipalities that you're involved with, so these, again, as I mentioned to Christina, they know who you are. What would you like the viewers to know about Chris Hobbs?
That I have a lot of experience. I've handled all different types of cases. And I think if you talk to my peers professionally, they'll tell you I'm even keel, I'm fair, I give everybody a fair shot, and I will take the time to consider important decisions and issues. And I think you really need that in a judge in order to make sure that that judge is not treating the people that come before them as simply files, but as people. I still remember being sworn in over 20 years ago, our President Judge Baldwin, telling us, you know, these are people in front of you. They're not just files. Yes, you may be charging them a fee, but remember, they're people. And you need to treat them as people when they come before you and when you represent them. So what I want people to know about Chris Hobbs is that I treat everybody the same. No one gets treated differently. And I learned that from my father. You know, my father was a state senator, he was an attorney, and there were important people in front of him, but he treated everyone the same. And that was an incredible lesson that he taught me. And I take that into my practice, and it's important that you have compassion for people, you have sympathy for people, and you understand that these are people that sometimes are having tough problems. You can't forget that. You can't forget the human side of the law when they come before you. And I think people should know that about me.
You know, it's a very difficult thing to check your emotions at the door and then sit on the bench and then begin to hopefully give the best advice you could possibly give. And that's why I'm always interested in people who have, I say, substance, their foundation in life, and you know where they grew up, and how did they get along with their community, etc. And I think that's valuable, makes you a human being. Now, certainly no one's perfect. I would never want to be a judge today. I applaud anyone who's running for a judgeship. I applaud the current judges. It's a difficult job, because I don't know if you've had some sleepless nights, Christina, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you've had. You know,
Yeah.
you know, it's just sometimes it breaks your heart. Chris, you've probably seen that with some of the clients you've had. You know, preparing and doing the right job. So I think, you know, you said we're looking for honesty, and today's society sometimes it's people have doubts. What do you say to people have these doubts about, you know, the judicial system?
Well, Sam, I think, you know, when you're talking to people, people have a tendency to be cynical about the system, and understandably so. I mean, there are significant issues out there, and if you read the newspaper, you hear about these negative things happening all the time. But it's important that you take the time to teach them. And you know, I always look at it this way. You ask, what do people want to know about Chris Hobbs? Well, when you're talking to them, let them know about you first, okay? If they know about you and they know you're part of the system, they will trust the system. There's no better compliment, I think, than being selected by your peers, both professionally and in the community, to serve in leadership positions. And the judge is one of those. It's a leadership position. So teach people. I've had the privilege of, in my professional career, I've served on the board of trustees of my church. I've served as the co-leader of the United Way Lawyer Division, raising money for important nonprofit organizations. I serve on the board of our local Schuylkill YMCA. These are just some of the things that I've been selected to do. And when people find that out, they think, oh, here's a guy that other people trust. Other people trust to be in leadership positions. And with that, you can take a little bit of that cynical edge and you can file it down a little bit. Because I think they'll find that it's not as bad as they think. They just look at it on TV, or they hear the horror stories. Yes. And you only hear the horror stories. You don't hear all the great things that it does.
Folks, I'm talking to Chris Hobbs, who is running for judge in the Schuylkill County Court of Common Pleas, and Judge Christina Hale, who's current judge, and she's up. I want you to keep her on the bench. We come back, we're going to find out why they're running as a team. Be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. 24/7, SSPTV.com. All of our shows are there. Comcast 190, Greater Pottsville. We've been over there almost 22 years. Every night, 7 to 11 p.m. Thank you so much for the nice comments we're doing on the Schuylkill Chamber Series. With me today is Judge Christina Hale. She is a judge in the Court of Common Pleas, Schuylkill County, and Chris Hobbs, Attorney Chris Hobbs, no stranger to Schuylkill County, who is running for a judge. Why a team? Why are you running as a team?
Well, Chris and I have known each other forever, for a long time, and our families knew each other. My father and his father were wonderful friends. Our grandparents knew each other. My grandfather was a doctor in the Frackville area, Dr. Thomas Hale. His grandfather was a judge. He was Judge Watkins. He was in Butler Township. I believe they used to hunt together and hang out together. So our family histories go way back. And Chris and I have been friends for many years. When the 2 judicial openings became available in Schuylkill County, we just got together and talked it over. And Chris knew that I was going to run again after my appointment. And we decided that our judicial philosophies are very similar. Our temperament is very similar. Our families know each other and get along with each other. And we thought it would be a good fit.
I think it's important to note, Sam, that Christina and I have stayed in touch. I mean, that's what professionals do. They stay in communication and they communicate with one another. So I was thrilled for Christina when she got the appointment, and I always knew that I wanted to be on the bench because, as I said before, I thought it was the best way I can serve the community. My practice has been successful. I've been doing it for 20 years. And how to take the next step. What's the way to write that next chapter? So Christina and I sat down. We had lunch at Roma Pizza in Pottsville, and
Great pizza, by the way.
and very, very quickly we realized our philosophies were similar. Our personalities were similar. Our temperaments similar, and we have a lot of the same beliefs. So it just made sense. There's 2 openings. And why not run as a team? We believe we have the best qualifications, we have the experience, we have the integrity, and we have the temperament to run. So why not do it together?
You got it all.
And make it a little fun.
Yeah. Tell me about where you grew up.
I grew up in Pottsville. Born and raised in Pottsville, played Little League, basketball in Pottsville. My father was an attorney in Pottsville. Just a great place. It's a terrific place, community-based place. Went to school there, and that's where I chose to come back to. What else can I say about that? That's the proof right there. That's what I thought about Pottsville. I wanted to come back there. I wanted to raise my family there. I want my kids to go to school there. And that's where I practice law.
And
so
you're
that's when I'm there. And the work ethic is just tremendous.
Yes.
It's a great working town that, I mean, quite frankly, I don't even have to lock the cars of my car, the doors of my car. So it's that type of place.
Good. Christina, besides that, now tell me about your dogs. Because I don't want to feel left out. I'm a dog lover. I'm a little Bichon.
I am an animal lover.
Yeah.
I love animals.
Yeah.
I have 2 goofy, crazy Labradors. Chris has met them, and I think he'll agree they're goofy, but they're so lovable. I have a chocolate lab, Murphy, and a white lab, Daisy. She's actually considered a yellow lab, but she's very light. Yeah, and they're great.
Growing up where?
So my story is a little unusual.
Better than my freaky.
No, it's good.
okay.
It's good. I grew up until the time I was 10 years old on an apple tree farm in Barry Township near the Higgins Valley in Schuylkill County. It was named Christina Orchards. My father named it after me, and my mother and father had that. And it was a great place to grow up. I attended Tri-Valley School District until 4th grade. Loved it there. Beautiful place, wonderful people. I still have a lot of friends in that valley. We were just down there last week, and I remembered so many people, and so many people remembered me. Ran into old babysitters, friends, neighbors. It was great. It was really nice. Then in 4th grade, we moved to Frackville. So I had attended North Schuylkill School District. That's where I graduated from high school. But my father's family and my mother's family were originally from Frackville. As I mentioned earlier, my grandfather was Dr. Hale, and he had a little doctor's office on Frack Street for probably 50-some years, and that was back in the days when they delivered babies, they made house calls. So many people come up to me and say, "Are you related to Dr. Hale?" And they'll say, he made house calls. And back then, he came from humble beginnings. He was born very poor. He worked as a coal miner, put himself through college at Penn State, became a chemistry teacher at Frackville High School. Then World War II started, and he was in World War II. He was with Patton's Army in Europe. And when the war was over, he went to medical school. I guess on the GI Bill or something, and that's how he became a doctor. And my father was born and raised in Frackville. He was in the Navy. I have great respect for veterans as well, and we were talking earlier about the things that I do for the community. I've been asked to speak for many veterans groups, and I really, really respect veterans and used to represent them a lot free of charge because it's so important to help our veterans.
So the way I look at it, the both of you are part of the community. You grew up with them. There's no highfalutenness from any of you. I mean, I see down-to-earth people.
Absolutely.
And that's what you want people to, at least I would want a person to judge me who is understanding what we're all about, okay? Decisions have to be made, and that's why I said I would never want to be a judge, you know? The towns, I've been in Pottsville for many years, over 22 years working there. The people are fantastic. I was born and raised in Little Patch Town, Pardeesville. You know, little towns like Frackville, etc.
Yeah.
People are just so wholesome and honest. And I'm hoping that, you know, as we go through the second show that we're going to do, we can learn a little bit more about what you want to bring to the bench, more of a legal part, okay? Anything you'd like to comment on, Chris, before I end?
Just, Sam, that you know, COVID is making running a campaign difficult.
Yes.
And for those people out there watching, and this is, you know, why we want to do shows like this, to make sure people get to know us. So normally we'd be going door to door, having face-to-face conversations, and that's really what we want. We want to have face-to-face conversations, sure. But COVID makes it difficult. So
you had COVID, didn't you?
I had COVID. I had a severe case of COVID, and back around Thanksgiving I was almost hospitalized, and thankfully, by the grace of God, I'm okay.
Yes.
And I'm healing, but you know, it's difficult. COVID's difficult.
But we're going to get out there and we're going to get our message known.
Yeah, whatever
so
you
that
get. And that's precisely why the shows like this, I think, are important, so people get to know who you are.
Yes.
I wish the both of you, I'm looking forward to see you in April again. We come back and talk about what you've experienced so far. I wish the both of you well. Take care of the dogs. Take care
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sam.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Sam.
My pleasure. Folks, Christina Hale, Judge Christina Hale, who is currently on the bench, Court of Common Pleas in Schuylkill, and also Christopher Hobbs, no stranger at all to Schuylkill County. Knew his family well, has nothing to do with my position, but I'm just saying Hobbs and Senator Rhodes, two great people. Those are moles that you wish we could just, you know, make those moles and have more people like them. Believe me, they're just great people. We'll see you next time.